Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Daily News Editorial. In this channel, we regularly cover editorial page section of the Hindu page. In this video, I will be covering the lead article of the Hindu page dated 23rd of July, that's today. If you like my content, please like, subscribe and comment. So let's begin. The direction that the NCF needs to take. Shaping a national curriculum framework using only the national education policy will be short sighted. The National Council of Education Research and Training NCERT has tasked the state councils of education research and training to develop four state curriculum frameworks. They pertain to school education, early childhood care and education, teacher education, and adult education. This is as in the recommendations of the National Education Policy 2020. At this level, the NCRT will provide templates to the states to develop four draft SCFs. The drafts will feed into formulating the national curriculum frameworks or NCFs, and the final version of the NCFs will be used as guiding documents to finalize the SCFs. The SCERTs are also supposed to develop 25 position papers which will be similarly used to develop national position papers. The cycle seems to be designed to take on board suggestions from all states, thereby making the NCFs representative and inclusive document. The NCERT will also provide support to the SCERTs in terms of guidance, training of personnel, and technology platform to develop these documents. Much data collection. So far, so good, but NCERT will also provide e templates for each of these tasks, which will be filled up by the state's UTs. Similarly, survey questionnaires, multiple choice questions, or MCQs will also be provided to conduct survey among various stakeholders. Thus, massive data collection seems to be in progress. Such surveys are designed, let us accept, with all good intentions to take on board views from all sections of the population. This is without doubt a must in a democracy, particularly in matters of deciding the aims, the objectives, and the content of curriculum because it affects everybody. However, the gathering and the organization of such data to be used in curriculum decisions requires more than just good intentions. The kind of questionnaires and template that one develops can emphasize certain kinds of recommendations while muting some others. Similarly, the cleaning and organization of the data may pick up what is already in the minds of people handling such data and filter out what does not fit within their thinking. Even if these two problems are somehow solved, the problem of what the majority wants and what ought to be done remains. For example, if one asks about public opinion on the medium of instruction for the ECCE, the overwhelming majority is likely to favor English. Does it mean that would be in the best interest of the children and society? Some valid questions. A huge opinion gathering exercise preceded NEP 2020. One wonders why this could not prevent it from becoming a managerial policy geared to make education a training endeavor to produce a workforce for market needs. The policy is chock a block with words of for values, capabilities, and skills, all justified as needed for emerging market requirements. Furthermore, These lists are just heaps of words, devoid of any organizing principles to decide priorities, interrelationships, and deriving curriculum content and pedagogy from them. A similar unorganized list is repeated ad nauseam in the name of pedagogical recommendations, and yet it fails to provide appropriate criteria to choose pedagogy at different stages and for different curriculum areas. The so called foundational stage crumbles under the slightest scrutiny or organizational as well as pedagogical grounds. The ECCE plus classes 1 and 2, first 5 years of education for the age group 3 years to 8 years, is proclaimed as one stage, but the ECCE and classes 1 and 2 will be run in separate institutions. Their teachers, qualifications, salaries, and training are supposed to be different. Their curriculum frameworks are supposed to be different. One wonders what makes it a single block. One pedagogical ground on pedagogical grounds, the capabilities of self-restraint, dealing with adults and people outside family, concentration span, responsible behavior, self-directed activities, and understanding the value of completing a task widely differ for a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. These are the capabilities which determine the nature of pedagogy and formal learning, not the forming of synapses and the growth of brain mass. Thus, the people developing NCFs have to deal with these issues in addition to finding a method of making proper sense of gather the public opinion. If the national curriculum framework for school education is purely guided by the NEP 2020, we are unlikely to ensure the sound development of our school children. Fortunately, there is a way through which the teams developing the NCF and SCFs can mitigate, if not completely solve, the problems created by NEP 2020, as well as take on broad public opinion in an appropriate manner. Furthermore, such a framework can also help in making appropriate use of what is good in this policy, for it is not completely devoid of good recommendations. For example, flexibility in secondary education, examination reform, more exposure to Indian languages, and making on board Indian knowledge system can make our education system better. Documents of value. One way out of this problem is to take a lot of help from the Secondary Education Commission report and Zakir Hussein's Basic National Education report. The purpose of surveys on public opinion is to create a consensus on basic values and the version and the direction our education system should take. The SERC assumes, without saying, that the democratic polity we adopted gives us that consensus. They also collected a lot of data, but that data was analyzed and organized in the light of the vision of the individual, society, and education inherent in the democratic level ideal. Thus, they had all the three necessary elements: the overall framework of values and future direction, current issues and problems of the education system, and public opinion. The SECR makes sense of the latter two in the light of the earlier, and it rigorously works out the aims of education, pedagogy, and content to achieve those aims. The logical rigor is very clear in working our aims from the democratic values and pedagogy from the aims. It is somewhat it is somewhat loose in working out the content, but the direction is clear. Another useful document in this regard is the BNE. The logical flow of this document may be somewhat amiss at one or two places in the beginning, but the rigorous derivation of education aims from the vision of society, curricular objectives from the aims, and content from the objectives are starkly clear. These are coherent and rigorous documents because they place the values and principles of democracy and a morally, aesthetically, and intellectually rich individual life at the starting point and try to resolve current economic problems in alignment with them. The current policy reserves the order. It is not that the content from these documents should be borrowed, rather, that the approach they take has much to teach. It is rigorous, rational, and very sound. Interestingly, the first edition of the BNE was in 1938. SECR was written in the 1950s. Patricia White, a British philosopher of education, first argued of making democracy the basis for working out the school curriculum in 1973. John White worked out a rigorous method for the same in a paper published in 1998. The BNE and the SECR do not philosophically argue or give the detailed exposition of the method. They make practical use of this approach. It is somewhat surprising that the reports and curriculum frameworks developed after the 1980s in our country are completely overwhelmed by the current problems or by the pedagogical ideals of child centrism and simply assumes that vague assumptions about the democratic ideals mentioned here and there randomly was enough. The objectives and content in these later documents are based on other fashionable or political or current issues. Placing the debate, it is time to again place the democratic ideal at the center of our education, not as an object of lip service or reverence, but as the source of a framework of values and principles to judge and justify all other aspects. Otherwise, we are likely to make the curriculum a political football and stir up debates that border on cacophony. Let us remember that opinions without supporting arguments are nothing more than assertions, and one citizen's assertions are only as good as another's. This leaves the conclusion of debate to the most powerful. The only way to wrest the judgment from the hands of the powerful is to have the curriculum debates rooted in democratic values. Rohit Dhankar is Professor, Azim Premji University, Bangalore, and Secretary, Digantar, Jaipur. So friends, if you like my video, please subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you.